Hello friends and colleagues, I am Stanislav Chernog, the author and creator of the online school of vector massage and somatics. And today we're going to talk about the front of the shoulder and the armpit area. Often a large amount of fat tissue grows in these areas particularly. Despite the fact that the amount of fat that builds up here is extremely small, as it shouldn't be there at all, this fat looks extremely unattractive and can ruin the overall appearance and make a person feel insecure. I must say that this problem is common among both women and men. Quite a large number of people have fat deposits along the pectoralis major muscle, along the armpit and the anterior surface of the humerus. To be forward, I will say that this problem can be solved with the help of massage manipulations. It is important to understand that when the body grows extra fat somewhere, it indicates health problems. Therefore, when there is stagnation of lymph, we can say that there will be trouble with circulation of fluid in the face as well. In addition, we must understand that the pectoralis major muscle is connected with the liver and the stomach respectively. If there are problems, we should pay attention to the internal organs, most often to the liver. It means that the body has problems with toxic substances because one of the main functions of liver is the transformation of toxic substances from the digestive system into non-toxic substances. Accordingly, if there are liver problems, it will be seen in the armpit area. We should distinguish the difference between problems in the armpit area and on the inner surface of the biceps. If we are talking about this area, this is initially growth of adipose tissue. If we talk about the inner surface of the biceps, a large amount of cellulite appears here unusually. It is the inner surface of the shoulder that is the place where the specific cell structure of cellulite grows. Despite the fact that these areas are not the place where we look attentively, we unconsciously notice that the skin here is uneven and we devalue a person who has cellulite on the inner surface of the shoulder. It is important to understand here that in order to work with cellulite on the inner surface of the shoulder, we need to work with the area in the front surface of the shoulder and the area of the pectoralis major muscle in the axillary space. And now we're on the couch. Let's work with a particular person, see what in this case we should do first. I can test how the liver affects the condition of biceps and how the problems with biceps cause inflammation along the front of the shoulder and the formation of excess fat cells. We put our hand on the liver and find out that for the right side, the liver has a significant effect on the armpit area, but for the left hand, this problem is not so urgent. We conducted a research sometime off camera, and I can say that the condition of the left hand is connected with instability of the cervical spine. The moment I turn her head a little to the right, the cervical spine stabilizes, and neurologically, the left hand begins to work much better. This way muscles aren't injured, thus there is no inflammation, so the body does not need to grow additional fat tissue. If we have an average person with a certain amount of problems, if we don't know a specific diagnosis, we have a general patient, the first thing we need to do to eliminate problems of the front of the shoulder is to work on long extensor muscles that stabilize our cervical spine. I recommend to work with the attachment points of the neck extensor muscles to the thoracic spine. We can do this the following way, lying on our back. I place my hand on the attachment points and push through these areas. In most cases, these areas are quite sensitive. We must control the load so that our model does not suffer from pain. As always, overloading is more harmful than helpful. After we have worked out the long extensors, it is recommended to work on the places where the short head of the biceps passes along the front surface of the shoulder. The next step in our work is to work on the short head of the biceps. The thing is that very often the short head of the biceps grows together with the surrounding muscles. Therefore, it is very important for us to separate the adhesions that arise along this structure. Adhesions arise due to neurological malfunctioning of this muscle. We worked on neurological state in the previous step. In order to work with the short head of the biceps, we first need to find it and then move it in the lateral direction, move it in the medial direction, and then along the hand, move it to the fingers, shoulder, to the side, to the middle. If this work is being done without the corresponding work on a long extensor, it will be useless and even harmful. The next important point will be the treatment of the attachment points along the humerus of the pectoralis major muscle. The pectoralis major muscle is attached more laterally than the short head of the biceps passes. In some cases, this area is also very painful, which is wrong. It shouldn't be so. A reminder: laterally means being further from the midline to the side. Ideal placement is closer to the midline towards the center. Accordingly, the place of attachment of the pectoralis major is located further than the short head of the biceps. After we have worked on these places, we can start kneading actions of the bone that has grown along the front surface of the shoulder. Remember that there is a large number of lymph nodes here. This is a delicate area, so your movements should not be heavy. We look at the model to check if she is suffering, because excessive load does not help but rather causes harm. We work statically, slowly, and at low loads. Our goal is to give the tissues that are located on the front of the shoulder stress load so that the cells that are responsible for the production of collagen, elastane, structural elements, the cells start to produce these proteins and the tissues become denser, and due to the tone, hold the fat tissue and become smoother. What do I need to do to reduce the amount of fat in this zone? Firstly, we must work on the reasons why the body is building up fat here. Secondly, we work with the fat itself so that the body finds out that it is physically uncomfortable to keep some fat here. Our body knows that evil can always come in the face of the specialist Stanislav and grab this place, and the body doesn't like it. That way our body experiences a threat and begins to grow other cells, another type of cells, which would make it more difficult to grab the front surface of the shoulder so that the malicious Stanislav could. The next significant area to work with is the space along the anterior surface of the armpit, the area where the pectoralis major and minor muscles pass. Accordingly, an excess amount of subcutaneous adipose tissue often builds up here. Very often this place is painful, and a dense pasty structure is also associated with the fact that the lymph overfills these places. The lymph is stagnant, and accordingly, in order to put this lymph somewhere, the body grows an additional volume of fat cells. Accordingly, our task in this case is to put the muscles in order. This is the pectoralis major and minor. We work at the points of attachment of the muscle to the sternum and clavicle, work at the point of attachment to the humerus. Accordingly, the work of the attachment sites consists in the fact that we find these places, press on these places, and do not press very hard, but persistently for a long time to relieve inflammation from the attachment sites. The pectoralis minor muscle is attached along the third, fifth rib. Accordingly, it is important for us to work out the directions along the muscle fibers and separate one muscle from another. In order to work on the front of the armpit, it is important for us to separate the muscles among each other, release them, separate the pectoralis major from the pectoralis minor. In addition, it is important for us to work on the subclavian lymph nodes to load subcutaneous fat tissue. How is it going to look like? First, we need to free the pectoralis major muscle from the fascia and separate it from the pectoralis minor. Now we are moving along the fibers of the pectoralis major muscle from the humerus to the center. We move on the surface to a shallow depth of the clavicle. As you can see, some of the areas we touch are painful. It is necessary to memorize these places and work with them more thoroughly until the pain completely disappears. Pain tells us that we have inner problems. Accordingly, when the pain disappears, we can confidently say that our body has found a way to work with those structural problems. The second movement direction is from the coracoid to the third and to fifth rib. This is work on the pectoralis minor. Be extremely delicate here, as there are a lot of lymph nodes here. We will not dwell on the work on the subclavian lymph nodes. Remember that you should start with a very delicate and slow work on the lymph nodes. Once you have separated the muscles among each other, you can start extrusion. Remember, again, this is a delicate area. The mammary glands and the breasts are located close to this area. Many patients will be highly suspicious of this area. Therefore, in every possible way, get permission from the patient, approval of your actions. Again, this work must be done slowly because it's potentially dangerous. Initially, you should load the patient slightly and look at the patient's reaction. The main thing is that we don't cause inflammation of the lymph nodes and health deterioration of the patient. After you have worked at a light load for some time, you can start increasing the load. If the soreness in the patient's body is reduced, it's a sign that you can increase the load. There is sagginess. If the chest loses its shape, this can be substantially corrected by working with the front surface. By the way, in general, the breast area is a very dangerous and difficult zone to work with, but not because it's hard to work here. It's because this is intimate and delicate area. Although it is possible to improve the condition of breasts, to reshape it, to rehabilitate it after pregnancy, to leave the breasts after feeding, all this can be done. Every time patients come to me and I see that I could do something with breasts, I say to myself, no breasts, I won't talk about breasts. They will say that I just want to touch their breasts. I repeat once again that this work is long-term, that it is fraught with risks. Therefore, we do not force it. We do about 10-15 sessions in order to get results. We should not expect to get results earlier than after 8th session. If you follow my advice, you will get a noticeable improvement in the front area of the shoulder and the front of the armpits. Moreover, it will lead to improvement in the health of your patients or your own health if you do self-massage. Thank you for watching this video till the very end. It helps to promote our channel. Give this video a like to support us, encourage us to shoot such interesting videos. And also, please tell us in the comments section how relevant this problem is for you, how you manage to work on it, and what results you get from working with the front surface of the shoulder and the front surface of the armpits. Therefore, be sure to subscribe to our channel if you have not already done so. I am Stanislav, the author and creator of the online School of Vector Massage and Somatics and the YouTube channel of the same name. The channel where we teach you how to work with your patients' bodies, become more attractive and healthier, and make good money on it. Until next time, friends, goodbye.